Here are 5 things that a quilter should never buy, at least not yet. Also, that's a sloth. Number 1 is notions. Now pause here. Obviously we have to have our notions, and looking behind me we got this beautiful notion wall, but there are so many out there that we get caught up in this rat race that we gotta have them all. Like for instance, come over here. Supreme sliders, we've got add quarters, we got ruler lips, we got, I don't know, 10 or 15 different rotary cutter blades. You don't need all the notions. You need the ones that apply to you and specifically you. For instance, I love non-slip rulers. I have quite a few non-slip rulers. They apply to me. However, I don't have, and haven't done really at all, any prairie points. Now, if you love prairie points, it's a fantastic tool for you. Let's be honest, you might never do a prairie point in your entire life. You don't need all the notions, at least not yet. That's why I put that caveat in there. Buy the notion that will make your life easier, not the one that seems cool or that you've seen on TikTok. Avoid those ones at all cost. Hugo's Amazing Tape. Pretty much every quilt store in America has this product. It's a tape that sticks to itself. It is super strong and super bonding. However, I've never had to hold my sewing machine together with this. Actually, I'm gonna be completely honest with everyone. Every time I've ever used this was actually for my truck and not even for the sewing industry. But the demo on this is so cool that everyone buys it. So if you need it for other than quilting reasons, fantastic product here. Or maybe some people use it to like wrap around their spools and all that. But again, those are fantastic ideas only if they apply to you. Over here, this is our pin section. And this is, we just did a reduction in our pin section. Narwhal. We actually just did a reduction in our pin section that we eliminated probably 60% of the pins. And now we're just selling the ones that everyone wants and everyone loves and everyone knows and everyone, you know, feels like are good pins. But you don't have to have them all. This is a extra long pin, fork pin, patchwork pin, flathead extended pins, quilting pins, silk pins, applique pins. Now, we have them for reasons, but we find these, especially a newer quilter, come in, they're like, well, I think I need all of these. It's like, no, you don't. What are you working on? Grab yourself some patchwork pins and you'll probably be fine for at least another couple of years. Or maybe you just love applique. Grab some applique pins. You don't have to have them all. From here, we're going on to number 2. Number 2, stash during a lifetime, not during a day. Now, what I mean by that is we get caught up in a lot of the events, a lot of the sales, a lot of the sales pitches that are out there. For instance, when you see a sign that says fabric for $7, $8, $9 a yard, it draws us over there. It doesn't mean you actually have to buy the fabric. If we just take a second longer, you'd realize that maybe some of that fabric you actually don't want, you just find that it's a good deal. So you want to stash over your entire lifetime. Beautiful collection here behind me is beautiful. If you love it, get it, but skip the other ones along the line, especially the ones that you don't necessarily love or that the deal seems too good. And that's also part of the love of this craft, is that we are collectors of sorts. We love our machines, we love our fabrics, we love all of our pre-cuts and things like that. Collect what you love, as opposed to collect what is cheap. Obviously, here at Soya Quilting, we go live on Tuesday and Saturday nights. Tuesday nights are our newest and greatest, latest products, and our Saturday night is our discounting products. I'm not saying don't shop one versus the other. I'm simply saying buy what you love, regardless of what the deal necessarily is that day. People get caught up in it, and then they end up with a stash that they don't absolutely love, as opposed to, you see this beautiful collection behind me, you throw this on display, it's something to be proud of. If it's not, don't buy it. Good rule of thumb. Number 3, and I truly believe this, that all quilters apply to this, don't buy overkill on your sewing machines. Now, pause here. We're a sewing machine retailer. We sell all makes, models, and brands of sewing machines, and we love them, from the $200 machine all the way up to the $20,000 and $30,000 sewing machine. There is a wide range of machines out there. What I mean by don't buy overkill, you have this machine right here. It's $1,300, does your forwards, backwards, and zigzag, and it's a pretty standard machine. Most quilts in this industry can be done on this machine right here and not have any problems. However, if we flip over to this machine over here, which is a Bernina, it is almost 5 times the price, and it comes with more features, but in the quilting realm, it does essentially the same thing. You're gonna make pretty much everything in our industry with that same sewing machine. So why the difference in pricing? The first one that I talked about, doesn't have as many features, doesn't have as many bells and whistles, as opposed to that one has many more bells and whistles, and additionally can do embroidery. So you kind of have to pick your machine based off what you're actually going to be doing with it. Because I, as a salesperson, could sell you the machine that's $1,300 or the machines that's $6,000 and promise you the exact same thing, and they're both true. It just comes down to those features. Coming over here to this machine, these machines here, fantastic machines again. This one's about $7,000, this one's about $25,000. Massive differences in pricing, and it all goes down to what you love and what you want to do with your machine. I absolutely try to talk people out of buying something that they're going to grow into. For instance, we have someone that comes in, they say, I've never done embroidery, I want to buy an embroidery machine, I want to grow into it. Most of the time when someone says that, a salesperson is going to try to get them to buy the biggest, baddest, best machine out there. That is beyond overkill for someone who's starting. And additionally, if all you do is straight piece quilting, selling you a zigzag machine is also overkill. We like to address the customer themselves and put them into the machine that's right for them with a little bit of growth, but not crazy growth, because the reality is a machine like the ones behind me that are, a $2,000 embroidery machine will never perform like a $25,000 embroidery machine. And additionally, if you start off basic and then you're like, I love this, if you buy a $2,000 embroidery machine or a $3,000 embroidery machine and want to buy a machine like this, you're going to get your money back on your trade-in. So you don't really have to worry about that as much in the industry. So you have to start somewhere. Don't start with overkill. Number 4 is don't buy cute. Now what I mean by that, as a quilt store and as online platforms and all those things, my job is to make the item look as best as possible. For instance, I got this beautiful display behind me that we love. This is Agatha Road by Moda. But when you actually buy the fabric, you're buying this here. You're not buying everything behind it, okay? The reason why I like to point this out is that a lot of times we get caught in the vision of a store. For instance, IKEA is like the #1 guilty people of this. You walk into the little rooms and you're like, I would love to have this. But your house is brown, the display is white, your furniture is green, their furniture is white. You see the full vision of what they saw and then try to implement it into your own life. We get caught up in the cuteness of things. With that being said, I'm gonna walk you over to a different display here to show you what I mean, because the last one shows just the beauty of a display. This one shows a display that is way more focused on fabric. You see my little squares here, frames, fabric, quilt behind me. People sometimes sit here and fall in love with this picture here, and it's very cute. But the reality is, are you gonna paint your walls off bubblegum pink, paint your frames, hang hangers, and add in little pieces of fabric into it? Probably not. But if you love like these strawberry prints here, purchase them and use them in your way as opposed to the cute Instagram way that we're presenting in our stores. Number 5 is buying patterns and books that are within your scope and that it doesn't overstretch you. Now, I see it happen all the time that someone buys a pattern, maybe something like this that's beautiful, and I love this pattern. If you're not comfortable with it, spending the amount of money on a kit like this and the pattern can be a little bit daunting. And then they start doing it and they don't like it, or they don't enjoy it, or they're having struggles with the pattern. The reason why I'm pointing this out is that most quilters kind of know where their skill level is at. Now, I want everyone to stretch themselves and always try something new, but dissect the project first. If you see some hexes and it's all done with Y seams hand piecing and you've never really done hand piecing, don't buy a quilt this side. Buy a little mug rug or something like that so you can try it out and learn to love it and then move on from there. Moving to this quilt here, dissect the quilt just a little bit before you purchase it. What I mean by that is this block right here, a square and a square. If I look at it, there's no seams on this square here other than just all the way around. And so simply put, those are snowballed edges. Very common technique in the quilting industry. It takes that long to just dissect one of these. And then you can kind of know, am I gonna stretch myself a little bit on this project? Am I just doing this for funsies? And am I gonna learn something new? Also guys, a little secret for everyone. The reason why quilt stores package all their own stuff is so that you can come up to the front counter and say, hey, can I see that pattern? And you can pull this out and you can even read the whole pattern. Like most quilt stores don't care about that. And then you can see kind of what skill set the pattern is. Without reading a pattern, like I never trust what's on the back of a pattern when it says like beginner friendly, advanced, intermediate, whatever friendly. The reality is that's someone's opinion, not necessarily your opinion. And that's super, super important because a quilt like this, if you actually read the pattern, it's 2.5-inch squares and some half square triangles. Nothing too crazy, but it might be new to you because this is all flannel. So maybe the challenge in that sense is that you're going to work with flannel for the first time with a simpler pattern. So don't overstretch yourself, but on the flip side, always continue to progress in the industry. So I'm back over here with notions. I've got just a little list here. These are the things that you are always going to have a safe buy on. Number one, a rotary cutter. Pick the style that you like and stay with that style for a minute. Don't buy because it comes in 4 different colors. Buy based off the style. Second, rotary cutter mat or a self-healing mat. I always tell people this, buy the biggest one that fits your space, okay? I never hear anyone say, oh, this rotary cutter mat was just too big. Additionally, buy good quality thread, good quality needles. 10 bucks a spool of thread, pretty good thread. If you're paying for a 100 pack of needles, it should be around $10 to $15 for a 100 pack of needles. Buy the notion that fits your need today. If you're new to binding or you're having struggles with binding, invest into a binding maker or something like that. But you have to first have the struggle before you buy it, right? You can't understand how great the tool is unless you actually knew what it was for. Buy what you love, don't buy what is cheap. So those are just a couple tips for you guys that hopefully will help you continue in our industry. Don't get caught up in the marketing and the promotions of the industry today. We gotta realize that wasn't that long ago, call it 25 years ago, that the level of marketing that we have today, the level of cuteness, the level of, altered photos just didn't even exist 25 years ago. So we wanna keep this industry alive, but I want you guys to avoid the pitfalls of this modern day industry. Now, with that being said, guys, if you've liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.